Adaptation. The stars underestimated us. Part 1. First contact and miscalculation. The Etherian survey vessel Distant Horizon drifted silently at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. Its adaptive camouflage bent light around its hull, rendering it effectively invisible to primitive detection systems. Commander Ilara Voss stood before the main view screen, her slender frame silhouetted against the glow of a blue-green planet rotating slowly in the third orbital position. "Initial scans complete, Commander," reported Science Officer Thalen, his six-fingered hands dancing across the holographic interface. "The dominant species calls themselves humans, technologically immature, but showing rapid advancement patterns." Ilara nodded, her iridescent eyes narrowing as she studied the planet. Atmospheric composition. Nitrogen-oxygen mix. Heavily polluted in industrial zones, but they're making primitive attempts at environmental restoration. Weapons capabilities. Nuclear fission and fusion. Rudimentary space presence. No faster-than-light travel. No gravity manipulation. No quantum communication. Thalen's voice carried the familiar tone of dismissal that Etherians typically reserve for less advanced species. Ilara wasn't so quick to judge. In her 3 centuries of exploration for the Etherian Alliance, she had learned that appearances could be deceiving. What about their development curve? Thalen paused, rechecking his data. Unusual. They've progressed from basic agriculture to space travel in less than 10,000 years. Most species take at least 50,000 for such advancement. "That's worth noting in our report," Ilara said. "Prepare a full species assessment. I want cognitive profiles, social structures, and adaptability metrics." 3 days later, Ilara stood before the Alliance Council, a semicircle of 12 Etherian elders whose combined age exceeded 5 millennia. Her report hovered in the air between them, key statistics highlighted in pulsing red. "Distinguished Council," she began, "the species we've discovered on Earth shows remarkable potential. Their adaptability index is the highest we've recorded in a pre-spacefaring civilization." High Minister Zolan, the eldest of the Council, waved a dismissive hand. "Commander Voss, we've heard such claims before. The Centaurians were supposedly remarkable as well, yet they readily accepted their place in our hierarchy. With respect, Minister, the humans are different. They've survived multiple extinction-level events through sheer ingenuity. Their fiction is filled with scenarios where they overcome superior forces through unconventional thinking." "Fiction," scoffed Minister Kelva, her scales shimmering with amusement. "You're basing your assessment on their entertainment." "Partially," Ilara admitted, "but I believe their cultural narratives reveal important psychological truths. They're predisposed to resist rather than submit. They value individual autonomy above collective stability." The Council exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of amusement and condescension. "Your concern is noted, Commander," said Zolan finally. "But the Alliance has incorporated thousands of species into our governance. The humans will be no different. We will proceed with standard protocol." Ilara left the Council chamber with a sense of unease. The standard protocol for species integration began with covert observation, followed by a show of overwhelming technological superiority, and then a choice: join the Alliance as a protectorate or face subjugation. It had worked flawlessly for 20,000 years. But humans, she suspected, wouldn't follow the script. Back on the distant horizon, Ilara ordered extended observation. For 6 months, they monitored Earth's communications, mapped its power structures, and analyzed its military capabilities. The more they learned, the more Ilara's concerns grew. "They're constantly at war with themselves," noted Security Chief Varen, reviewing conflict data. "Yet they advance technologically during these wars rather than regressing." "Their scientific understanding is fragmented but accelerating," added Thalen. "They've discovered quantum entanglement principles decades before we predicted they would." Ilara compiled these findings into supplementary reports, but each was met with the same response from the Council: continued observation, no deviation from protocol. Meanwhile, on Earth, In a nondescript government building in Geneva, Dr. Elena Markov stared at her computer screen in disbelief. "Director, you need to see this," she called out, not taking her eyes off the anomalous readings. "The gravitational fluctuations near Saturn's rings. They're not natural." Director William Chen leaned over her shoulder, his brow furrowing. "Could it be instrument error?" "No, sir. 3 different systems have confirmed it. Something's there, something massive, and it's bending light around itself." Chen straightened, his decision already made. "Initiate Protocol Sentinel. Priority Level Alpha. No public disclosure." Within hours, Earth's most advanced sensor arrays were redirected toward Saturn. Quantum detection systems, still in experimental stages, were brought online. A select group of scientists and military personnel from 12 countries were quietly assembled. "Ladies and gentlemen," Chen addressed the gathered specialists, "we have reason to believe we are not alone in our solar system, and whoever is watching us has technology far beyond our current capabilities." Instead of panic, the room filled with determined focus. This was a scenario they had theorized about, planned for, but never expected to actually face. "Our advantage," continued Chen, "is that they don't know we've detected them. Let's keep it that way while we prepare." For the next 5 months, Earth's nations worked together in unprecedented secrecy. Military exercises were conducted as cover for testing new weapon systems. Scientific breakthroughs were classified. Space launches were disguised as commercial satellites. Aboard the distant Horizon, Ilara and her crew remained unaware of humanity's discovery. Their sensors, designed to detect known technology signatures, failed to notice the quantum scanners now focused on their position. "Observation period complete," Ilara announced. "Prepare final report for the Council." As her crew compiled their findings, Ilara recorded her personal assessment. "The humans show greater potential than any pre-spacefaring species we've encountered. I recommend modified contact protocols with emphasis on respectful engagement rather than technological intimidation." The Council's response was swift and dismissive. "Standard protocol authorized. Contact fleet dispatched. Your vessel will serve as cultural liaison during the transition." Ilara's heart sank. The contact fleet meant the Alliance had already decided Earth would become a protectorate, willingly or otherwise. 2 weeks later, the Alliance contact fleet emerged from hyperspace just beyond Earth's moon. 5 massive vessels, each capable of neutralizing a planet's defenses, arranged themselves in the standard display of overwhelming force. "Broadcast the greeting message on all frequencies," ordered Fleet Commander Darius, his voice confident and bored. He had performed this ritual dozens of times before. "Give them the standard 1 hour to respond before we initiate Phase 2. On Earth, emergency alarms blared in government facilities worldwide. Military forces scrambled to defensive positions, but publicly, news channels reported only unusual astronomical phenomena to prevent panic. In the underground command center beneath Geneva, Director Chen addressed the assembled leaders of Earth's nations. "The moment we've prepared for has arrived," he said calmly. "Initiate Operation Reverence." Across the globe, hidden launchers activated. Advanced stealth satellites, positioned over the previous months, oriented toward the alien fleet. Quantum communication networks, reverse-engineered from observed alien frequencies, synchronized their encryption. Aboard the Alliance flagship, Commander Darius waited impatiently as the hour deadline approached. "Any response from the humans?" "None, Commander," reported his communications officer. "Wait, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet. Primitive weapons being activated, no doubt," Darius said dismissively. "Proceed with Phase 2. Targeted atmospheric demonstrations at unpopulated areas." Before the order could be executed, the Alliance fleet's systems began to flicker. Quantum disruption fields based on the Alliance's own technology, but modified in ways they hadn't anticipated, enveloped their ships. "We're being jammed," exclaimed the security chief. "But that's impossible. They shouldn't have this technology." On the main view screen, a human face appeared. Director Chen, his expression calm, and resolved. To the commanders of the alien vessels, he began, "We have been aware of your presence for months. We understand your intentions may be peaceful, but your approach, hidden observation followed by a show of force, suggests otherwise." Commander Darius stared in shock. "How are they broadcasting on our secure channels?" Chen continued, "Earth is prepared to engage in diplomatic relations with your civilization, but only as equals. We have analyzed your technology and developed countermeasures. The energy signatures you're detecting are merely a fraction of our capabilities." It was a bluff, but the Alliance had no way of knowing that. Earth's technological leap forward had been significant but was still far behind the Alliance's full capabilities. It was a bluff, but the Alliance had no way of knowing that. Earth's technological leap forward had been significant but was still far behind the Alliance's full capabilities. "Commander," Ilara interrupted, stepping onto the bridge. "Let me speak with them. This is exactly what I warned the Council about." After a moment's hesitation, Darius nodded. "I am Commander Ilara Voss of the Etherian Alliance," she said, addressing the human leader. "You have surprised us with your capabilities. Perhaps it would be best to begin our interactions anew, with mutual respect rather than presumption." Chen's expression remained neutral, but his eyes revealed relief. "We welcome that approach, Commander Voss. We propose a neutral meeting ground for initial diplomatic discussions. As arrangements were made for the first official contact between humans and Etherians, Ilara sent an urgent message to the Alliance Council. Humans have exceeded all expectations. They detected our observation vessel, analyzed our technology, and prepared countermeasures, all without revealing their knowledge. Standard protocol has failed, requesting immediate reassessment of Earth's status. The Council's response was uncharacteristically quick. Proceed with caution. New protocol authorized. Ilara knew what that meant. The Alliance had never before encountered a species that detected their observation ships or responded to their show of force with anything but awe or terror. The humans had changed everything. Resistance and revelation. 6 months after first contact, the diplomatic mission had devolved into a tense standoff. The Alliance Council, unwilling to accept Earth as an equal, had rejected the humans' terms for joining the interstellar community. Instead, they had implemented a strategic isolation policy, essentially a blockade of Earth's solar system. Commander Ilara Voss found herself in an uncomfortable position. She had been appointed as liaison to the humans, but her warnings about their potential continued to be ignored by the Council. "They've established outposts on 7 of their systems bodies in just 6 months, she reported during her weekly update. Their technological advancement is accelerating now that they're focused on space capabilities. High Minister Zolan's holographic image flickered with static, a sign of his impatience. They remain contained, Commander. Their advances are impressive for a primitive species, but they pose no threat to Alliance interests. With respect, Minister, they've already reverse-engineered components of our communication technology. Their adaptive capability exceeds anything in our historical records. Your concern is noted, Zolan replied, using the same dismissive phrase Ilara had come to dread. Continue monitoring and enforcement of the isolation protocols. After the transmission ended, Ilara turned to her science officer. Fallon, show me the latest analysis of their quantum communication attempts. The holographic display filled with data streams, human experiments in quantum entanglement communication, their attempt to bypass the Alliance blockade. They're getting closer, Fallon admitted. They've nearly cracked our encryption methodology. At this rate, they'll achieve breakthrough within weeks, not months. And the Council still believes they pose no threat, Ilara murmured. On Earth, the revelation of alien life had initially caused panic, but humanity's resilience quickly reasserted itself. When the Alliance blockade began, Earth's nations united in an unprecedented way. In a converted automotive factory in Detroit, Dr. Elena Markov supervised the final assembly of a quantum propulsion prototype. Based on observed Alliance technology, The drive would theoretically allow Earth vessels to achieve faster-than-light travel. Final diagnostic complete, announced her assistant, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka. Simulation results are promising, but we still need actual test data, which we can't get with the Alliance monitoring our every move. Elena sighed. At least not openly. Across the globe, similar projects were underway. In Bangalore, engineers worked on gravity manipulation technology. In Shanghai, quantum computing experts developed systems to crack Alliance encryption. In Rio de Janeiro, materials scientists created new alloys based on samples from Alliance probes. Humanity was doing what it did best: adapting, learning, and preparing to overcome. Director Chen, now heading the newly formed Earth Defense Directorate, coordinated these efforts from an underground facility in Geneva. His latest meeting with the Alliance liaison had not gone well. Commander Voss seems sympathetic, he told his assembled staff, but the Alliance Council remains unmoved. They expect us to eventually accept protectorate status. And if we don't? Asked General Adiola Okafor, representing Earth's Unified Military Command. Then the blockade continues indefinitely, Chen replied. At least, that's their plan. Well, said Dr. Markov, who had joined via Secure Link, their plan doesn't account for Operation Breakout. Operation Breakout was humanity's response to the blockade, a multi-pronged approach to achieving technological independence from the Alliance's constraints. Its most ambitious component was the construction of a stealth vessel incorporating the experimental quantum drive. 2 months later, the Defiant was ready for its first test. Constructed in secret using composite materials that absorbed rather than reflected detection signals, the ship represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. Pre-launch checks complete, reported Captain Maya Rodriguez from the bridge of the Defiant. Quantum drive nominal. Stealth systems active. Proceed with launch, ordered Director Chen from Mission Control. May fortune favor the bold. The Defiant rose silently from its hidden lunar base, its revolutionary propulsion system leaving no conventional exhaust trail. Alliance sensors, focused on thermal and electromagnetic signatures, failed to detect its departure. Aboard the Alliance monitoring station, an alert finally sounded, too late. Unidentified vessel detected beyond lunar orbit, reported the sensor officer. It's already at the edge of the system. Commander Ilara Voss rushed to the command center. Track it. We can't, the officer admitted. It's using some kind of adaptive camouflage similar to our own. Ilara felt a mixture of shock and vindication. Alert the Council. The humans have broken containment. The Defiant's mission was simple but audacious. Navigate to Proxima Centauri, the nearest star system, and return with data proving humanity's ability to achieve interstellar travel despite the blockade. When the ship returned 2 weeks later, it carried more than just navigational data. It brought images of an Alliance colony world and evidence of a disturbing truth. The Alliance was not the benevolent coalition it claimed to be. They're strip mining entire planets, Captain Rodriguez reported during her debriefing. We observed 3 worlds where indigenous species have been displaced or exterminated to harvest resources. The revelation spread through Earth's leadership like wildfire. The Alliance wasn't containing humanity out of concern or caution. They feared competition for resources. Director Chen called an emergency session of the Earth Council. We must accelerate our defensive preparations. The Alliance won't tolerate our independence for long, especially now that we've proven we can bypass their blockade. The Alliance Council's response was swift and predictable. They dispatched a subjugation fleet, 30 warships with orders to establish direct control over Earth and its resources. This is our final warning, announced High Minister Zolan in a system-wide broadcast. Earth will submit to Alliance authority or face the consequences. Commander Ilara Voss, horrified by this escalation, requested an immediate audience with the Council. Her request was denied. We've indulged your fascination with these humans long enough, Zolan informed her via secure transmission. You are relieved of your liaison duties. Return to the fleet for reassignment. Instead, Ilara made the most difficult decision of her career. She transmitted a warning to Earth, along with detailed schematics of Alliance vessels, their weaknesses, their tactical protocols, their communication vulnerabilities. This constitutes treason, Thedlin warned her as she prepared the data package. No, Ilara replied, her voice steady. Allowing the extinction or subjugation of a sentient species for resource acquisition, that's the real betrayal of Alliance principles. On Earth, the warning arrived just days before the subjugation fleet. But humans had not been idle during the months of blockade. Defensive platforms had been constructed throughout the solar system. The quantum drive technology had been refined and implemented in a small but growing fleet of Earth vessels. And most importantly, a revolutionary defensive system had been developed, one that used the Alliance's own communication technology against them. When the Alliance fleet emerged from hyperspace, they expected to face primitive resistance at best. Instead, they encountered a coordinated defense network unlike anything they had prepared for. Admiral Kelth, commanding the subjugation fleet, watched in disbelief as his forward vessels reported system failures across multiple platforms. "They're using our carrier frequencies to deliver targeted system overrides," reported his technical officer. "Our own communication network is compromising our ships." "That's impossible," Kelth snapped. "Switch to secondary protocols." "Sir, they're anticipating our protocol shifts. It's as if they have our complete tactical database." Because they did. Ilara's information, combined with humanity's rapid technological adaptation, had created a perfect storm for the Alliance fleet. Earth's defensive strategy wasn't focused on destroying Alliance vessels. They couldn't match the aliens' firepower yet. Instead, they targeted propulsion, weapons, and communication systems, effectively neutralizing the threat without unnecessary casualties. From the bridge of the Defiant, now serving as Earth's flagship, Director Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "The Alliance has always relied on technological superiority," he observed. "They never developed tactical flexibility because they never needed it." Captain Rodriguez nodded. "And now they're facing an enemy who thinks differently, who adapts." The battle lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, 23 Alliance vessels drifted powerless in space. 7 had retreated to the edge of the system, unable to engage effectively or escape completely. Admiral Kelth, his flagship systems compromised but life support still functioning, received a transmission from the Defiant. "This is Director William Chen of Earth. Your vessels have been neutralized with minimal casualties. We are prepared to discuss terms for your safe return to Alliance space." Kelth's mandibles clicked in agitation. "You expect me to negotiate with a primitive species? The Alliance does not recognize Earth's sovereignty." "The Alliance may not," came a new voice, Ilara Voss, now standing beside Chen on the Defiance bridge. "But others will. I've transmitted evidence of the Council's violations of the Sentient Species Accords to every member world. Your fleet's defeat will only validate my claims." The subjugation of Earth had failed spectacularly. As news spread throughout Alliance territories, other worlds began to question the Council's authority. Species that had accepted protectorate status for millennia now saw an alternative path. Resistance was possible. 1 month later, a new diplomatic delegation arrived at Earth, not from the Alliance Council, but from a coalition of worlds seeking alliance with humanity. They brought an offer: join them in creating a new interstellar community, one based on mutual respect rather than domination. In the Geneva facility, now serving as Earth's diplomatic headquarters, representatives from 12 alien civilizations gathered with Earth's leaders. Ilara Voss, granted asylum on Earth, served as translator and cultural guide. "We've watched your species achieve in months what took us centuries," said the Proximan delegate, their translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent emotion. "Your adaptability, your creativity when faced with challenges, these are qualities our coalition needs." Director Chen looked around the table at the assembled alien representatives, then at the humans who had led Earth through this extraordinary transition. Humanity has always dreamed of reaching the stars, he said finally. Not to conquer, but to explore and connect. We accept your offer of alliance, with one condition, that we work together to reform the Etherian alliance, not simply oppose it. As the new coalition formalized their agreement, Ilara reflected on her first assessment of humanity. She had recognized their potential, their remarkable adaptability, but even she had underestimated them. In less than 2 years, they had gone from a pre-spacefaring civilization to a pivotal force in galactic politics. The stars had underestimated humanity. It was a mistake the galaxy would not make again.